Great. I can see it. Let them know in the chat if you cannot, but I'm guessing if I can, everyone can. Thank you, Lindsay, for having me and everyone on here. Like she said, Christina Turpin, I'm with River Discovery, and I'm hopeful that you guys have heard of us before. And this isn't your first introduction, but I'm excited to talk a little bit more about our current programming we have this year and see if anything comes to mind that you guys have questions after. Feel free to ask. So, we're celebrating 20 years this year with River Discovery. We were founded in October of 2006 by Joe and Fran Tonsmere, who were seasoned whitewater outfitters up in northern Idaho. So they were inspired by their deep connection with the river, and then they also had personal experiences with cancer. So when creating River Discovery, they were excited to create outdoor adventures that promoted healing, confidence, and connection for cancer survivors. So for 20 years, we've been doing that. And this year, our programming main activities are our 6 day survivor rafting trip, which is in the end of August, and our 5 day survivor co-survivor rafting, which is also at the end of August. And these two trips open up for a lottery in the middle of January. And then we leave that open until April 1st. And then from everyone that applies to that lottery, we draw 20 survivor names for our 6 day rafting trip and 10 survivor names for our 5 day rafting trip because they do bring their co-survivor with them as well. So 20 people total. And so that one is set kind of earlier in the year. So this year is already set, but next year we'll open up in the middle of January, January 15th for that lottery as well. And that's down the lower Salmon. And it's really cool because I don't know if you guys have been on a rafting trip, but you create quite the bond through this. And so not only are you probably experiencing something new by whitewater rafting, but you're also creating connections with other cancer survivors on the 5 day. Co-survivors are able to connect. We have some great programming on these trips. We bring a facilitator, a medical professional, a yoga instructor, and a kayak guide. So there are staff on there making sure that the trip is meaningful and beneficial for these survivors. And then we also offer our 1 day Healing Waters rafting trips down the Payette, the Cabarton stretch, and we partner with Bear Valley Rafting for that. And those are open now, and we leave that open until they are filled. Right now, we have two of the trips. One of the July trips, the 13th, and the August 10th trip are full, but the June 22nd still has some spots, and the July 27th, I believe, still has a couple spots on there. But so if anybody is wanting to apply for those, we do have spots for that, and that is for the cancer survivor and three of their family members, and those are ages 4 and up. Our 6 day and 5 day are 18 and up. So that's kind of a good opportunity to bring the full scope of the family on those 1 day trips. And then we also offer paddle out cancer, which are on Quinn's Pond in the summer. We have 4 dates. They're mostly the last Saturday of every month, except for August. It's the second to last Saturday. Out on Quinn's Pond, you can get rentals from Idaho River Sports, and you can do a class with them ahead of time and then join our group for networking and kind of a calm paddle around Quinn's, or you can just join and do a paddle with other cancer survivors around Quinn's Pond. So those are our main activities. We also have other things that come up, such as today we're doing a social this evening at Barbarian. So different kind of networking events to bring people together. And I think what really sets these apart is that we are trying to teach techniques that last long after these events. So whether you're learning, some yoga, some deep breathing, some mindfulness, how to activate your body while in nature to calm and to heal. And so those are skills that you can take away from these and hopefully continue throughout your journey. So I think that's all I have. My information's on here and I will be on for questions.
Great, Christina, thank you so much. We are going to have a conversation afterwards, but if there are specific questions that you want to, burning questions right now for Christina, and I have one, that's
Oh,
okay.
great.
Um, is so can people from throughout the state participate, or is it mostly a Southwest participation?
No. So we throughout the state, but also nationally, internationally. So our 5 and 6 day rafting trips are, I would say, half to three-fourths of Idaho. But then there's also people from all over the US that are going on those. The one day and the paddle out are mostly from around Idaho and more locally, but we do not have any sort of requirement that you are Idaho based.
Great. Before I move on, if you want to ask now, you can, or you can wait. Okay. Christina, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, to you, Daryl.
Oh, I'm not as an accomplished speaker as she was, so mine is a little different. And basically, I'll probably read most of it so that I can get said what I want to say. The slide will be different than what I'm talking about. Um, Mine is dealing with a prostate cancer support group, men who've been, or trans, whatever, has been affected by prostate cancer, or just want to know more about it. So I would start with uh, you've got prostate cancer. Those are shocking words to hear. Anybody. Uh, and I've heard you mention case studies several times. So I have a little one that the questions will come up at the end probably. Diagnosed at 59 years old, which is a little bit early for prostate cancer. A male whose complaint was mild urinary symptoms, considered localized and totally treatable for success. We performed localized treatment and 2 years of systemic therapy. Recurrence occurred at 5 years. Local treatment failed. New diagnostics determined that the disease was now metastatic, incurable by standard of care, and therapy was begun to manage the progression of the disease. Initial management failed after 4 years. Second phase of salvage therapy using doublet systemic treatment failed after 2 years. Third phase of salvage using triplet systemic therapy failed after 3 years. Additional systemic therapy to delay progression and possibly extend survival have been used, and palliative targeted therapies are now being used to maintain quality of life. 17 years have elapsed since diagnosis, and the prognosis is not favorable. It's a case study, sort of, it's my story. What it leaves out is the emotion that goes on, the search for information that goes on. When people hear these words, and at each phase, each step, I call them steps, phases, there's issues. There's a need for more information. There's a need for discussion with people. How am I going to deal with this? What should I do? There's all of that. And of course, there's emotional and spiritual type issues to be dealt with. That's what a support group is about. Zero is best for ones who engage early. You ask, who would benefit from this? Best is age is at an early stage or anywhere on the journey for awareness, education, and support. I lead 2 prostate cancer support groups known as Treasure Valley Prostate Cancer. They're linked on the Zero Cancer website, so you can find me. Support, which is affiliated with Zero Prostate Cancer. The support groups are formerly known as Us Too. You may have heard that word. It's now part of Zero, 4 or 5 years now. Zero Prostate Cancer is the nation's #1 provider of prostate cancer resources and the voice of prostate cancer community. We're available for those who use zerocancer.org website for information. We also have the support groups, of which I'm one. They also have several, like on Facebook, and that way you can contact. Let's see, what else we got? I got a call yesterday from a man recently diagnosed, which is exactly what we want to hear from. How he finds us, I don't know. It's hard. The support groups were formerly known as us two said that. Services are free for the groups. Of course, nothing's free. So if you want to donate money, that's fine. Most of the money comes from pharma and fighting desperately to avoid conflicts of interest, and endowments from people in hospitals and stuff. Let's see. For example, right now, my daughter is doing a Zero Peaks Challenge, where Zero, the organization, has set up a chance for people to join this group. It's like a walk. You're all familiar with walks. This one's hiking to Machu Picchu and the Awesome Gate Trek in Peru. So they're out for 7 days of hiking around up to 17,000 feet to raise money for prostate cancer awareness. My contact information is on the slide. And I'm eager to answer questions. I'm better at answering questions than doing presentations. Thank you.
Oh, I beg to differ, Daryl. That was really lovely. Thank you so much for your information and your own journey as well, putting context in what you're doing. So thank you. Any questions? Thank you, Daryl. That was great. If we have questions for you right now, we can ask them. And then I also wanted to make a note. There was a really good question about a patient who's maybe concerned about compression fracture. And I think let's bring that back at the end for some of the activities. And Sam's got some information there.
Well, I piped in the chat, but I'll pipe in here. I have had some folks participate in the support groups here, and they found them extremely helpful. And I think generally this population has a little bit harder time both sort of getting in the door with the support groups. They seem to be less likely to take up on them, but I think they're extremely, extremely helpful when they do. So appreciate these services being available, and folks really liked them.
Great, thanks, Sam. We do have a question, Daryl, from Dr. Tylen Magnuson. So would it be the same contact information if a patient who is doing really well would like to be a mentor?
Yeah, you can sign up through there. I can refer them however they want to get in contact. I'd be happy to help them. I have one man in my group who is a mentor, so it's not ground that's not been plowed. It's ready.
That's great, thank you. And then another question from Lisa Harrison. She has many male patients that come from Oregon with prostate cancer. May they also participate?
They can participate if they want to drive that far. They're certainly welcome to come to the support group in person. But I do have a Zoom group. It survives from a group that I led in California. And when I moved, I couldn't get permanent leadership for it. So we were already in COVID using Zoom, and I've just continued it. It's got people from here, there, and mostly California and here, and one from Washington State.
Great, that's fantastic. Okay, well, thanks, Daryl. Let's keep it going, and I'll just keep watching the chat if there's additional questions. Okay, to you, Jen.
Right. Sorry. I'm Jen Schubert, and I'm the founder and executive director of the Lilly Cancer Foundation. When we first started in March of 2023, we were actually called Lilly GC. That stood for Lilly Living Incredible Lives in Spite of Gynecologic Cancer. But in the years since, our community has supported us so much that we've actually been able to remove the gynecological cancer requirement, and any woman that has any cancer type or has had any cancer type within a 100-mile radius of Lewiston is welcome to participate in our services. And our foundation creation story is I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer when I was 40. It was during COVID, and I actually live in Washington State, work in Idaho. I live in the Lewis-Clark Valley. And so there were a lot of challenges that surrounded it, as well as everywhere I'd look on the internet, it just would basically convince me that I was dying. And I became I don't even know how to describe it, but I became a person that I didn't even recognize. I lived every day in fear and in worry, and I didn't let anyone in, including my husband. And one night, my surgeon called, and I had finally qualified for surgery. Inpatient surgery was a little bit difficult at that time, and she scheduled it for several months later. And I lost my mind. And I said, so basically, you want me to die? And my husband came in the room and said, it's all right, babe, we've got this. And I got really angry with him. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm the one who's sick. Let me grieve. And he stepped back and he said, you're right. If this doesn't go our way, you get to go meet Jesus, and I'm stuck here raising 3 babies without my wife and my best friend by my side. And I just realized at that minute how, number one, how internalized I had become, and how my vision had become so tunneled that it was just about me and about my cancer, but also how much it was impacting those who loved me. And so that night we stayed up and we prayed and we talked, and we decided that we were going to create a foundation. When I got well, we were going to create a foundation that made sure that no one in our valley felt as alone as we did at that minute. And so 3 years later, even before I got the no evidence of disease, I was still undergoing chemo. But we started the Lilly GC Foundation, and we provide wraparound services for women and their families in 8 different research-based areas. That includes nutrition, exercise, mental health, physical therapy, spirituality, um, financial services, and relaxation. And so we work with partners in practice all throughout our area that we are able to refer out. We are 100% donor funded. We don't receive any grants or any pharma help or anything like that. So we do lots of fundraising, but as of right now, we've been really blessed. We've served over 325 women in our valley, and we are currently working on expanding up into the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area, as well as in Moscow Pullman. And then we've had some people questioning if we can have like a chapter down in Boise and a chapter in Twin Falls. So we're currently working on that. But at this point, we are home based in Lewiston and Clarkston. We offer free counseling services, massage therapy, yoga classes, cooking classes. We try to offer as many opportunities for our ladies to come together and love on one another and support each other as we can. In addition to those services that we offer for women, we have a men's support group for caregivers of women that have gone through cancer or are currently going through. So we have husbands who have lost their partner, and we have husbands whose partners currently going through, and husbands whose partners have survived and are doing better, but they all come and hang out. And then we also have a kids club that we do 4 times a year, some really fun activities for the kids that are impacted. So again, it's anyone who's ever been affected by any cancer and their family that resides within that 100-mile radius and is willing to travel here to partake in services. So that's us.
That is amazing, Jennifer. Thank you so much. And it's really exciting also to have support groups and representation from throughout the state. So good work. So
Thank you.
that's good. Any other questions or comments? You're getting the love and claps, Jennifer. Thank you. And then Daryl, I saw you put your contact information in the chat. Thanks so much for doing that as well. Great. Thank you. And Daryl, sorry, I'm going to go back. You said you're also available to providers. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah. Yeah. What I'm thinking of is I do have occasionally somebody who's involved in the healthcare services trying to find out more information about what men do go through. Just from talking to somebody who's been doing it, is fully open. I'll tell you any of the side effects you want to know about and how they impacted me. But once in a while, you get a provider that wants to know just a little bit more about what would be available. I can talk one-on-one things, buddy.
That is amazing. Thank you. This is a wonderful, safe space to be vulnerable, but also I know that it's scary and I appreciate all of you for doing that. Okay, let's move along. We've got Kelly. You're next.
Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Canfield. I'm a co-founder of John and June's Mission. One of our programs is Hike to Heal. Um, so our unique programs offer respite and personal growth opportunities in nature for caregivers specifically, but also caregivers and cancer survivors. So we do outdoor adventures. We do backpacking, snowshoeing, day hikes throughout the summer, just for people to connect with each other that are on a similar journey. So, my husband, he was a caregiver for both of his grandparents out of college, and he did that for 8 years, and they both passed away from cancer within 6 months of each other. So, when they did pass, he was completely broken. His life was shattered. And so he started hiking. He has hiked across 44 countries. And on one of his last adventures in British Columbia, he came up with the idea of Hike to Heal. So we incorporated as a nonprofit in 2018. And it really focuses on that outdoor healing for cancer caregivers, cancer survivors, and caregivers really of all types. So the backpacking trips and snowshoeing, they're open to anybody, all experience levels. For people who are active cancer survivors, they may just have a completely empty backpack for us to make it up to the Alpine Lake. We go really super slow. It's about being together and connecting with each other. We just make sure that everybody is enjoying their hike up to the lake. So trips are typically 4 days, all food, all gear, transportation, supplies is all included. It's free. We too rely heavily on donations, so we can keep this free for everybody. Typically, there's about 15 people, including volunteers, that go on the backpacking trips. We do incorporate yoga before we hike and then come down from the mountain. We also incorporate poetry therapy, which a lot of people it's not for everybody, but once you go through it, such positive feedback. It's a really powerful tool for both caregivers and cancer survivors, just providing a means of emotional expression, some healing, and a different way of sharing your experience and connecting with others. Let's see. Our next backpacking trip is July 17th. We have a few spaces still available. And it's just an incredible experience for people to connect with others. And I'll just end with a quote from one of our participants. Hiking with others who understand my journey has been life-changing. I found strength in nature and community. And so if you know of anybody, I have our email and contact there. Can share a flyer as well if you want to share that with anybody you think would benefit. So
Wonderful.
can
Kelly,
I
thanks
add?
so much.
I want to
Yes.
add one more thing. So we recently incorporated the blessing bike as well, which you may have seen. It's a three-wheeled passenger bike for people with age or health-related disabilities. We do have one that we have been loaning out to people who are in their final stages of, their cancer journey or whatever it may be. So I just want to also note that way you can get out and ride bikes and do normal things. So, okay, that's it.
That's great. Livy, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, I haven't been to the website. I don't want to assume, is there like a calendar with signups or just what's going on and then you call to sign up or?
Yeah, you can register on the website.
Okay.
So it has the events there. There is a $35 deposit that people get back once they attend. We had a few years where just people wouldn't show up and all the planning went into it. So we do have a deposit to hold and then you get that back. So.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I would also say with this, I've heard really, really great things from folks who've participated. It's made for some excellent goals for PT treatment as well when people really want to like go on the hike and do the next one from a motivational standpoint. And you guys do a great job over there. So appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
That's a really cool link, Sam. Huh. Okay, let's turn it over to you, Laura. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. My name's Laura. I'm with Shades of Pink. We're a breast cancer support group. So we actually started in October of 2020. Um, a little background on that. I'm actually a breast cancer physical therapist. So I see breast cancer patients, and I was approached by a few patients that were wanting to meet each other. They weren't happy with what was currently available in the Valley with regards to support groups. They were in with, a patient that had stage 4 brain cancer and had a hard time relating to that patient. So they wanted something a little more breast cancer inclusive. So that's kind of where Shades of Pink started from. So our mission is more just supporting the ladies of the Treasure Valley, helping them and coming alongside of them. Most of mental health, emotional, social, psychological is such a huge part of the cancer journey. And that's kind of where Shades of Pink is meant to step in at. Um, can I go to the next slide, please? There we go. So, like I said, we are the only breast cancer specific group. Our main mode of communication is our online Facebook group. So we do, you can see on the bottom, have a private Facebook group that is meant for the women only. In there, they are extremely vulnerable. They will share pictures, ask for advice, vent, seek recommendations, complain about side effects of treatment and whatnot. So that online Facebook group is like a huge part of connection with the ladies and finding someone that's going along the same journey as them. So with regards to connecting with these ladies going through breast cancer, obviously we'd love to get them when they're first diagnosed because then they don't feel so alone. Not only through the Facebook group, but we also meet monthly. So we do various events, anything from we have done goat yoga to horseback riding. We do educational things as well, like having a nutritionist come talk. We've had hormone talks, plastic surgeons. We've also done things like a microblading seminar for eyebrows for women that have lost the hair to chemo. But lots of different fun events. All of our events are free to the ladies. There's never a charge for them. But part of that is moving from our huge online Facebook group to a smaller place where they can actually face to face meet with someone, connect, talk through what they're going through and everything. So we are a Idaho nonprofit. The ladies never pay for anything. With that also comes we do provide a small amount of financial assistance as needed. We currently are partnering with a healthy business here to provide meals for women specifically after surgery. The other thing we help with are bills, groceries, some things that ladies don't even think about, like after having surgery, how are they going to do their hair? So we'll give gift cards to go get their hair washed after going through their surgery and stuff like that. We also provide a free closet, so mastectomy pillows, prostheses, bras, wedges, all sorts of things that if they're not needed anymore, you can donate to the closet. If you have something in need, those are available as well. But yeah, it's just, we've been going on 6 years now, and it's been a huge blessing, I think, to the ladies in the community to find someone similar to what they're going through to connect. Even online, if they don't feel comfortable coming in person, but to also come in person and and find that connection and support that they need. That's all I have.
Gosh, thank you so much, everybody. I'm gonna share. Oh, there we go. So we'll open up if there's any questions for our presenters. I appreciate kind of tying the rope or kind of tying it back, Sam, to work that you do with PT and some of those goals. What other thoughts and questions do we have?
And Laura, how long have you guys been doing the meal service stuff over there now?
That is recent within the last probably 3 months. This lady that we're partnering with specifically has extra education in providing nutritious meals for cancer patients. She walked through it with her sister and started meal delivery service.
Cool. That's really good to know. That closet's been awesome for folks over the years. So that's a really cool service you guys have over there.
I just wanted to add something Sam put in the chat just about kind of the trips for river discovery. I know it can be kind of scary for some people to think about the 5 and 6 day trips, and everyone that goes on these trips aren't like river rafters, or it's people very new to the river, and we know that, and it's a very cultivating and loving experience for them. And so it is not your traditional like outdoorsy river people going on these. And so if somebody does want the experience, most people are first time on the river when they do these. So I would encourage them to step out of their comfort zone, and we do make sure that they do fill out a medical form. We make sure they are physically able, and our medical professional on the team goes through everything beforehand. And so we are confident they can do it. And so yeah, just to kind of put that plug out there that they don't need to be rafters to go on these trips.
I say that's true for Hike to Heal too. We've had many people who have never ever camped or hiked that are now backpacking, so or snowshoeing. I think it's that encouragement, and everybody's new, and we've had all ages. I think our oldest participant has been, she was 76, so it really is for everybody.
And I've had patients who've been mid chemo who've participated in both of those programs and been super successful and had a great time. And like, there's usually somebody kind of near their level, no matter what, whether they're doing well or not as much. And you guys have done a really good job making that super accessible for everybody, including folks with like medical issues like stomas, and having to, ostomy bags, et cetera. That's all been managed really well. So, uh, the other piece, just since it was brought up earlier, we have had folks in the past with like multiple myeloma or who have like lytic lesions in the spine, et cetera. And I know the conversation about like fall risk and navigating uneven terrain and being able to like go over waterfalls, et cetera. And so depending on the person, we've had some conversations in PT around like assessing what their actual fracture risk is and then talking about some of the like risk benefit analysis, because like it's never a zero risk, but like a lot of that stuff can be mitigated pretty well, and it also is just super patient dependent. So if people are really concerned about that and aren't really sure, I mean, that's a great reason to get them into PT in the first place, because we should probably be going over fracture with risk with them more generally. But also, that's definitely, if their goal is to do a trip like this, most of the time there's a way to figure out how to do it. We just gotta work it out. I've only had one person ever where I was like, nah, I don't think this is a good option for you. But there was a whole lot of stuff going on. But,
That's really helpful. Thank you. Any other questions or comments while we've got our roundtable here?
I'm not able to find the hand, so I'll do that. This is awesome. This is really awesome. There is so much support out there for people. It's absolutely amazing. I really appreciate the chance to share mine. But I'm impressed. I'm getting ideas.
Thanks, Daryl. I agree. There and to have all of the options in Idaho, we're lucky to have all of you here. Thanks, Megan. I see your hand up.
All right, so I'm noticing while we're doing this whole discussion, I'm also looking everybody up on Instagram. I know that that's kind of where a lot of younger people are going for their information. And I've noticed that a lot of these organizations aren't necessarily like as up to date on Instagram. Is that something that I can like maybe reach out to you guys and like help you with? Just because that I want younger people to also know that these organizations are available to them, and where my advocacy I think lies a lot is like within this young adult sphere, and I want to take advantage of the I guess the resources and the things that are already available, but make it more inclusive for those people who, you know, are in their 20s and 30s, so that they can find you guys and use these guys and use you guys. So if that's something that y'all would be interested in, and me like reaching out to you and maybe getting something set up so that we're able to reach a larger demographic, I just think that would be amazing, because I do know, like I said, people my age are more on like Instagram and TikTok rather than Facebook and emails. So that's my one thing. Because looking at a lot of the things, I'm like, oh well, the only way to find this information is to go directly to the website or like to be signed up for the emails. Um, which is great. It exists. I'm just wondering how we can make that information more accessible.
I appreciate that, Megan. Completely. I absolutely hate social media, and that's one of the pieces that I know is a gap for us specifically. But yeah, I would love your insight. We can touch base after or whatever on how to help
Perfect.
with the Instagram lens.
Because I've been talking to a few different people about how we can help specifically like this demographic of people. And it's like there's so many resources, but it's just we don't know about them. And I'm thinking that like I've been thinking about starting my own thing, but instead of starting my own thing, I'm like, well, how can I help organizations that already exist like help this demographic? And maybe this is that path. So,
Megan,
yeah.
thank you so much for bringing that up. I think that there are people ready to take you up on that offer. I saw Jennifer saying yes, she's open. Laura, I think you've got. Do you want to, Laura? Did you have another comment? Yeah.
So I well,
Oh,
sorry. Clearly,
there.
I need help with technology. Sorry.
We can hear you.
Okay, well, I had something on my screen. Um, no, I think what you bring up, Megan, is awesome. I think part of why, like, our group personally is on Facebook is because it's private and you can communicate within that group. I have no idea if Instagram has that or not, but that's part of it. But as far as like you wanting to get involved, I'm gonna shout out, and Christina will say the same thing. We're on CCAI, which is a Comprehensive Cancer Alliance of Idaho. So we'd love to have you join our survivorship work group. Because we're building a resource guide. And I can throw the link. Maybe. Maybe you have the link, Christina. I can
That
throw
would
the
be
link in the group.
okay. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah.
That is a great discussion. Thank you so much. Any other thoughts, questions while we've got us here? Well, I'm going to wrap us up. Laura, or Christina, did you get, I can do that as well. Can you tell me
It's
the,
on the CCA CCAI website.
Here we go. I'm going to put this link in the chat right now.
Okay, I
Oh,
can't
awesome.
figure out how to get out of my full screen.
Okay, we've got it in the chat. Great resource. Thank you, everybody. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up today. Appreciate all of the information, the resources shared. Thank you to all the good work that you're doing across Idaho.